Welcome back to the Becoming Relentless podcast. I am your host, Eleanor McCabe, and I am joined by my co-hosts,
Cecily Wesch, Team Haley Coach.
And Danielle Kusenberger, Team Haley Coach.
And today we have a super special one that we want to talk to you guys about. We're going to talk about 3 things that are often overlooked in competing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, y'all are ready for this one.
It's going to get a little spicy.
Yeah, I think so.
Spicy. I love it. It's getting hot in here.
So one of the first things that came to my mind when I heard this question was patience. Patience is super overlooked in competing. And we've touched on this before in previous podcasts, but I don't think we've ever actually talked about it as like an individual topic.
Mm-hmm.
But just the importance of having patience in this sport is just so critical.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to get to the top as quickly as they can, but that like devalues the whole journey and like everything that you do and the work that you put in, like learning to enjoy the process. Yeah. Like it's not about how quickly you can get there. It's like
what you do during the journey.
What you do during the journey.
What you
that's
learn.
Going to make it the most fruitful.
Yeah. What you become, everything.
I think people don't realize that you can get to the top really fast, but then what's left?
Mm-hmm.
It's not as fulfilling because I think we glorify in the sport. You see those girls or those guys that win an overall, win their pro card, win their pro debut. All of a sudden they're going to the Olympia and it's like, oh my gosh,
I want to do that.
Yeah, I want to do that. But when you talk to them, they're such newbies in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fully understand maybe how hard it is to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome that they did that. I think it's so cool.
It's insane.
But I wouldn't say that it's something to aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's journey is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super, super rare that people are going to jump up like that.
I think that when, like, props to them, like, that's incredible. But you miss a lot of growing phases and learning phases that competing has for you when you just skip over things like failing and losing and like preps and off seasons and health phases.
And how you can learn from those failures and how you can handle them. All of that gets kind of skipped over. And then you can't win them all. You're not going to win all the shows that you do. So at some point, you're going to fall on your face. And how are you going to handle that?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you grow the most. And you come back way better.
Yeah.
So having patience with just realizing that it's not about that show date. It's not about winning every single time you step on stage, like the placing winning. It's about like winning your journey, winning against yourself every day.
Yeah.
That's big.
That is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because even if you like, let's say you do have a really quick rise to the top and you're there, well, once you're at that level, like you're at the bottom too, you know, like you're basically rebuilding everything and you're going to have a long journey ahead if you want to make it to the number 1 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's like people in the Olympia stage that are young and there's some that are like 20 years older than them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no matter your age, like the journey is what makes everything so special. You can always get to the top no matter when you start, how old you are, what part you're in. Like you can always get there if you work hard enough and long enough. And you have patience.
100%. Patience. It's the patience aspect. People are lacking it and they get frustrated with the sport and they bad talk it or they quit. Yeah. And it's really sad. I think I think we need to implement more patience in the sport.
Agree. Yeah. The more time you can take off and build yourself, the better.
Absolutely. It is all about the journey and good things take time with everything else.
And I will say throughout the journey, like that's where you build the most community. And like I see this post on IG a lot that people real post and it's like, it's not about like XYZ, it's about the community you have. And that's super true because like I wouldn't be here with y'all. Like y'all are my community. And like without everything that I've gone through and the ups and downs, if I were to just go to the top, like any of us, we wouldn't have had the relationship that we do.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It's so true. I love that. So then the second thing that I think is lacking in competing is loyalty. And this is where it could get a little spicy.
I think it also kind of plays into patience.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
They go hand in hand for sure. It's something that I've noticed. People are so willing to use other people as stepping stones, and there's no true loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare. Not that there's none.
It's very rare. I'm glad to say and proud to say that we're all very loyal
Yeah.
to like our coach,
yes.
ourselves, our community, to like each other, our athletes. But there's a lot of people that just use people to get to another to another place.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said there too, like staying loyal to yourself as well, and knowing what your boundaries are, what your morals are, and what you will and won't do. Because the sport is pretty ruthless and it's hard and it tests you in a lot of different ways. But if you can't be loyal to even just yourself, then you're going to really struggle.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I say a big one too is like, the reason why I didn't leave my first coach was because of loyalty, but I knew Justin was my answer. And so communicating with him helped me understand that my biggest issue in improving and growing in my competing phase was my loyalty to my last coach. But it's okay if you know a different route is better for you. It's okay to go that route if you communicate properly to the person that needs to be communicated to, like your coach.
That's so funny you say that, because I had the exact same thing. Like, I've had 2 previous coaches before Justin. I had Justin Rogers, who I like, we're still really good friends. Everything was cool, but it's because, like you said, I communicated with him like, hey, I appreciate all that you've done for me. Like, we worked together for a year. We did well together. I just knew that I needed something different. And I knew that Team Mahaley and Justin Mahaley were the answer. Like, I just knew that in my heart. But I was so loyal to my old coach that I just sat on it and sat on it and sat on it. And finally, I had that conversation with him, and it was so relieving. But what was even better was because I communicated with him openly, no bridges were burned. It's not like I just left him or ghosted him or was rude about it. Like, we communicated. I said, hey, I want to try something different. If it doesn't work out, I would love to come back. Like, but I communicated with him, I'm going to try a different path. I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, thank you for all of your work. And just that open trust and communication, I think really helped me make the jump without losing, like you said, some of that community. Because I still have some of that community from that old team and that old coach. We still keep in touch. Like, they cheer me on, I cheer them on. It's really cool. And I think it was my loyalty to him that made me want to be respectful enough to communicate with him. Like, this is what I'm going to do, but it's nothing personal against you. It's just.
Yeah, and I think that was like giving your coach a chance, like communicate with them, like if there's like grievances you have or you feel like something's off or like you need better support in some way, communicating with them about that before you leave. Or like, I get it, like sorry,
You're good.
the jump probably from your last coach to Justin was probably like because you saw you wanted to step it up like another level, not to like discount your previous coach, but like I'm guessing that Justin was at a different level than your current coach was.
Yeah, I could see just from the podcast and from what Justin, like the content Justin was putting out at the time, I could see the level of detail was different. And it wasn't a knock against my old coach. Like, he was great. He just was not as detailed and not as driven to like he had a formula. He had made bikini pros before. That's why I worked with him. He had pros under his belt. But I was like, those bikini pros, they wouldn't go on to compete in the IFBB, or they would and they wouldn't do well. And I was like, I want a coach who has experience here with IFBB pros and who's also open to different approaches of coaching with like biofeedback and details and stuff like that. And which I communicated with my old, like as hard as it was, because I was like, it's not that I don't believe in you, and it's not that like I don't think that we could do it. I think we could, but I think that this route is going to be better for me personally.
Yeah, I think that's really respectful and good. Yeah, I've only been with Justin, so I don't know about that feeling of having to do that, but I do know the pain of losing an athlete without having communication, and honestly, that's like.
It sucks.
It sucks. It hurts. Yeah. It hurts really bad. Yeah.
What like if you're listening to this and you're an athlete, which most of y'all are, like we care about y'all. We view y'all as like our own. So ghosting us hurts more than you realize.
Yeah.
Even if y'all are leaving us, like communication means a ton. Because we still support and want to be there for you.
Yeah. Every step of the way, like if you feel like there's something better for you out there, like I want to support you and I want to push you towards that. Like I never want to be someone that holds someone else back
Right.
from something that is going to be better for them. But like when people like ghost you as a coach, you almost worry, like, are they okay? Like, did something really bad happen? Like your mind kind of plays through these scenarios and it's hard.
Yeah. And it's also, we want to know what we could be better at.
Mm-hmm.
We need more detail. Okay, so how do you want more detail? And like, if it's not our method and we're like, that's just not us, okay. But if it's something that we could create and work on to be better for other people, then that's just making us better as well.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And I think that like the loyalty piece ties into that of just we create such strong bonds with our athletes that if the loyalty should go both ways, like I'd like to have the respect of that communication. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me. Like I want to know because I want to fix it with you.
Exactly.
And if there is no fix and you do go somewhere else, just having that communication is it means a lot to us.
It does. It does for sure.
Yeah. I get so sick of seeing like the coach hopping or the team hopping. And that's like the loyalty piece that's missing too, where I see people join a team and they're like, this is the best team ever. This is the best coach ever. And then maybe they do one show, they don't do well. Immediately they switch. And it's like, this is the best team ever.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand finding the right fit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's definitely a way that you can find the right coach and the right fit, but then stay a little bit. Really feel it out because one show is not enough.
And work on that communication with them. Because like if the communication, if you aren't practicing proper communication with your coach, nothing is going to improve.
Yeah.
Like you have to, if something's wrong, you have to communicate it. We aren't mind readers. Like
Especially
we really try our best to try to be intuitive about what you guys are saying and what you need. But like if you need something, you have to communicate it with us.
Yeah. And like nothing's gonna hurt our feelings.
Yeah.
Trust me, we've been through it all.
Thick skin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it hurts more when you don't get that communication.
Yeah, exactly.
Like way more.
Yeah.
So then the third thing that I think is a little bit overlooked in competing would be the why, like your reason why.
Yeah.
I think we've touched on this previously in previous podcasts, but the why in my opinion, needs to run deep. It needs to be almost like emotionally connected to your purpose because you can say, oh, I want to compete because I want to look hot. But that's a very surface level why.
Yeah.
I will say, I know for me personally, my why has changed throughout like the years. Like why I first started is just different from last year's why to this, like my why right now. Especially when you reach different levels of competing, like it's definitely going to change.
It evolves.
But knowing what it is very important.
I think that first and foremost, you have to make sure that you're doing it for you and no one else and not because you're trying to prove something to someone else. It has to stem from you and for you. Because if you're not doing this for yourself at the end of the day, it's not going to work out very well, and you're going to become very bitter towards the sport.
Yeah.
And I do think so. Seth has always talks about the it factor.
Yeah.
But how you have the it factor, which the it factor is like you walk on stage and everyone's like, wow, like your presence. You don't have to look the best. You may not be the most conditioned there, but your presence just grabs everyone's attention. So how you get the it factor is being secure in your why. No, if you're doing this for someone else, you're never gonna have the it factor because it's not coming from you.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. Just doing it for yourself is like foundational. And it's easy when you're competing to get wrapped up in what you're hearing externally. I know personally for me, last year, it was easy for me to take in everybody else's feedback. And at certain points in my journey, I did feel like I was doing it for other people. Like I was doing it for Justin. I was doing it for Team Mahaley. But I think being able to realize that, I was able to kind of step back and be like, well, what do I really want? What am I doing this for? And evaluating that. But it took like that self-awareness and realizing, oh shit, I'm not doing this for me right now. And that's why I'm struggling so hard.
Yep. I went through the same exact thing last year. Yep. And I think that hard part is what made the connection even deeper, like having that introspection and really self-evaluating and realizing like, oh, in this moment, I wasn't doing it for me, and taking that step back, because I took a step back from like a lot of things in life at that point. And it helped me to redevelop my why and reground it within myself.
And I think that's super important for every competitor, that like you need to do that. You need to figure out what grounds you, why are you doing this for yourself? Like what is your personal internal driving force?
And that's what's going to it's going to help so much in your prep too. Like having that that security in what grounds you in the sport, because that's what's going to help you stay on your protocols while you're struggling and you're hungry and you don't want to do certain things. Like if you can find what grounds you and stick to it and feel passionate about it, it's going to help you.
Let's share our whys. Yeah. You want to, if that's okay with y'all. If you don't want to, it's totally okay.
Getting deep.
And we don't have to share all of it. But why for our why for towards competing? Just
Why for
bodybuilding or competing right now.
I don't want to go first.
Okay. Well, I would say my biggest why right now is this is always, I'm sure we all have this, but becoming who I know I can become. And that person's, I view her as myself in the future, and I hold her to a really high standard. And oh my gosh, I'm kind of getting emotional. But I everything that I do, is for her. I want to be her. Yeah.
You want to be the greatest
person I can be. Yeah. Towards competing, but all things in life. I know where I could go in life and how much impact I can have. And I want to make sure I fulfill my dreams that I'm here to fulfill.
I love that. I think that's a great why.
Thanks. Yeah.
I would say my why is similar. I want to see how far I can push myself. And last year, there was a moment where a switch flipped inside me, and I felt so powerful. And I felt like I was getting to know a deeper version of myself, kind of like you're saying, a higher version of myself that I didn't even realize was in there. And so part of my why for competing is I believe it's going to push me to truly the depth of myself. I want to be the greatest version of myself that I could be. And I can do that through competing.
Mm-hmm. That's special.
It's going to help push you to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, now I got to share mine. I'm sorry. My voice is just on
It's
one
all
right now.
good, man.
Okay. So I think that my why has a lot to do with everything that I've had to overcome in the past 2 years. Life hasn't been easy. And I think that part of it is honestly kind of proving to myself that I can do this and that I can accomplish anything that I put my mind to, because I've struggled a lot with self-doubt in the past and not being super confident in who I am and what I can do. I've always been kind of more timid towards my goals, and I've never truly gone all in. And so I really want to prove to myself that I can go all in on something and I can accomplish anything that I want to. The world is mine. If I want it, I have to grab it and take it.
Yeah. All super special.
Yeah.
It is. And all of us are very grounded in that. It's very emotional for all of us.
I think we all
Yeah.
got shaky while we were talking about it.
I literally was talking over the mic.
But I think that is how you know that it's a very powerful why. That it's not just oh, well, I want to look really good.
Yeah.
I
want to be the fucking best.
Yeah.
No, it's more than that. It's
goes
deeper than that.
I mean, we all want to be the best, I think.
Yeah.
But it goes
Yeah.
deeper than just I want to place first or
And I will say too, sorry if I cut you
No,
off,
you're
but
good.
when we see our physiques in the mirror and then check-ins, mostly in the mirror, we're say in prep, we were proud of how we look that day. That's a lot of muscle mass, but we see more than that. We don't just see the physique. We see the work, our why behind our physique. We see the care and the effort, and we're we put in so much effort into competing because our whys, that's our way of showing our passion and our work to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. The commitment to ourselves.
Yeah.
it is. It truly is. It's a commitment to ourselves
Yeah.
every single day. We're choosing to do the hard stuff. And on the other side of that is the best versions of ourselves. We're just getting better and better, closer and closer.
Yeah. Day by day, action by action.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that we impacted y'all and learned a lot from this and take this into y'all's everyday life.
Yeah, I hope that you guys kind of like after this podcast that you kind of sit and maybe reflect, like if you are a competitor, kind of think about like why you're doing this, maybe write it down, journal about it, kind of work through that, do some self-reflection. And I think that you'll find it a very powerful experience if you allow yourself to kind of dig deeper within yourself at that moment and really think about that.
I hope all of you feel very powerful right now. I know I do. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Have a great day. I hope y'all really enjoyed the podcast today, leaving it feeling more relentless than ever. But we have a few things that we would love to ask of you, so I'm going to give this over to Noah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you could, I know that this is your new favorite podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating and review. Leave any comments and questions below. And make sure that you're sharing across social media so that all of your friends get to listen to the greatest podcast on earth.
And if you have any questions about any topics that we talk about or anything at all, fitness, competing related, anything, we'll hit you back up, Instagram or in the podcast under, if the comment box is there, then we will definitely answer your questions and help you out as best as we can.
Absolutely. So leave those 5-star reviews. Let us know, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Have a relentless day.
Bye.